So once again, I want to thank all of you so much for joining us on Wanda's Picks podcast to talk about Black film, unscreened and unstreamed. We have with us Cheryl Fabio, filmmaker, executive director of the Sarah Webster Fabio Center for Social Justice. Thank you so much for joining us, Cheryl. We also have Cornelius Moore, co-director, Emeritus at California Newsreel. He's famous. Everybody's famous on right now in the rooms. And then we have Rae Shaw, filmmaker, author, professor at San Francisco State University. What department are you in, Rae?
Cinema. Mhm.
Duh. Of course. Yeah, and Cheryl, your organization, which I believe is named after your mother, is hosting this series, which is going to be, it starts a week from today, August 14th, and it goes until next year in July, and it's going to be at Oakstop for the first half in Oakland, downtown, easy, convenient, public transportation accessible. And I believe the series is free, which is like the perfect price. And you have these wonderful collaborators like Bam House, which is hecka awesome. And so I wanted to give you an opportunity to sort of talk about, this wonderful series, how you all came to dream it up and what films are a part of the series. I know you're going to have discussions and you're going to have like directors, in the house afterwards. You're going to have people who are actually in the films, in the house. It's going to just be a really great community building kind of activity. And, we need to build community wherever and whenever we can. And art is the perfect vehicle for that. I don't know if you all are serving food like popcorn and stuff like that so that people can like just sort of get into it, having the yummy things to chew on are really helpful with helping us think like you're chewing and you're thinking at the same time.
I don't know if Cornelius and Rae know, but we've bought an old-fashioned popcorn machine, and we're going to be popping as we go. So that's a big part of not only the opening night one, but all of them. When you said community building, like I try and figure out how do I fit into all this crap that's going on. And, community building is what has been on my mind, even though the way that I think things is through film. So I think I bounced it off of Cornelius. Cornelius introduced me to Rae, who also was thinking about how do we get a theater going, in Oakland, because frankly, there's just no real place to consistently know you're going to come across this, Black film. And frankly, I, I don't mean to whine like this, but I'm too old to do festivals all the time. I need something spread out a little bit. So the three of us started talking about it. We kept talking and talking for about a year. But then finally we came up with funding. And then that funding helped make it real. And here we are. I'm I'm as shocked as anybody that we got this far, but I'm really happy that we did. And I do think that the the input of Cornelius and Rae makes it much bigger, much more, has more depth than, if any one person had tried to do it by themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And tell us about Sarah Fabio. Like, who is she? Who's your mama?
Who's
And
who's your mama?
and what do you do at this Center for Social Justice and Research? Like, what do you do there?
Well, first of all, let me say that when we formed this organization, it was called Safe Spaces, and there's another nonprofit named Safe Spaces. The state of California asked us if we would mind changing our name because I think that's a domestic violence kind of, or something. So we said yes, and my board said, well, if we're going to change the name, let's change it to honor my mother, who is an educator and a writer and an artist. And the thing that I think about when I think about naming it after her, her generation of writers like published their own stuff. If the publisher didn't go for it, then they just published it. There's just a can-do attitude that I'm particularly tied into with my mom. So, like all through this, every time somebody said, "Well, you might not get any money," I thought, "We'll do it anyway." I mean, I do know I'm her daughter in that regard, but it also works. I mean, I think that even my mother's writings, when she's self-published, but that led to, things showing up in other places. I just think doing what you need to do is an important thing, and she
Mhm.
modeled that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and what do we do? What do we do is, so my work comes under that organization, and I produce documentary films. But I also like to show films. I spent 16 years with Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. So
Mm.
this is kind of part, I've been missing this part of just knowing that there's a place that I can go and see it. But if I'm interested, I assume somebody else is interested as well. So I'm excited to be doing this. But the other thing that we do is we're a fiscal sponsor. And so we've got a couple of other projects that come to us to provide that 501(c)(3) as they figure out what they're doing. Some
Mhm.
of them have stayed with us for 6 years or whatever, and then gone on and done their thing. And that's really good because you're bigger than the work that you're doing.
Mhm. Mhm. So you're almost like an incubator.
Incubator. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. So you're birthing others.
As long as they want to be birthed, we don't go out and we're not really aggressive about that, but people do reach out. Sometimes it's film people, sometimes we've got an urban gardening project that is maybe the most successful project that we've done. But
Mhm.
we also did something with a child care program. And so it varies.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read a little bit of your bio as we move along. So it says Cheryl Fabio spent her formative years moving from one end of the country to the next while her dad served in the Air Force. The Fabio family then settled in Oakland, California. Her mom, whom we've been speaking about, Sarah Fabio, a writer in the Black arts movement, was raised in Nashville, Tennessee. Cheryl went to Fisk University for college and returned to California to study documentary film at Stanford University, and they have a phenomenal program there. Her first film, Rainbow Black, poet Sarah Webster Fabio, was 31 minutes and an intimate look at her mother, an educator, writer, and particularly a poet. Fabio has developed unique skills and perspectives in a nonlinear career that includes social service, nonprofits, administration, and film production. In 2017, Fabio produced and directed Evolutionary Blues, West Oakland's music legacy. In 2021, she made East Oakland Counter Narratives. Her film, A Rising Tide, chronicles homelessness and housing insecurity among Black children and families in Alameda County. 50% of Alameda County's homeless live in Oakland. 70% of those in Oakland are Black. That's a 2019. So, all righty. So where do you want to pass it off to? Our dear friend Cornelius Moore?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Wanda. Great to see you. Glad to be on your program. I have to give credit to Cheryl for no for being consistent and staying with this idea. We would meet for a while, but it's like, oh, it's gonna happen. But for Cheryl's connections found a place to do it. And then we talked about, all the challenges of doing that and getting that together, but also about the funding. And no, we didn't have the funding. And then it's through Cheryl's connections, really. I mean, you have to um, bask in what you've been able to accomplish, Cheryl. So it's all the funding and everything is through Cheryl's connections. So I mean I since I'm still kind of involved with California Newsreel. I mean, but as board and advisor and everything. But I started out when I started doing film from 50 years ago, maybe. I by being a film programmer and curator and a community organizer with film. So I've always missed that aspect of it, and this is coming back to this. And so I in my sort of effort to be a curator and programmer, I go to festivals where people still send films to me via California Newsreel. So I keep up on what's being done. So I have a bank of things that I think should be shown, and filmmakers who should be lifted up. And so I'm really glad that there is an opportunity to share some of that with the public. And that's my primary thing, is to engage with the public. And do we want to talk about the first film?
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna read a little bit of your bio, and then you can talk some more.
Okay.
Cornelius Moore, and I just want to mention, with regards to your travels, to places where there are African film festivals like Burkina Faso, and Ouagadougou. Is that how you pronounce the name?
Ouagadougou.
Yeah, that big festival that happens, I don't know, is it every 4 years or something?
No,
Or
every 2 years.
every 2 years. Is it still happening?
It's still happening. It's odd years.
Okay. So that's this year.
Yeah, it happened. It happened in 2025.
Yeah. Did you go?
No, I haven't been since 2007.
Okay.
I think Cheryl's probably been there since
I think, no, you were there the last time I was there.
Okay.
And actually, I'd love to go now under the reign of the new president, I think.
Yeah, so maybe we can plan something for 2027. Just saying, Yeah, so I always found that really exciting, that you would be there, and then all these filmmakers that I will be meeting at these different festivals, like the San Francisco International Film Festival, specifically. And some of those filmmakers are no longer with us, their ancestors, and you would know them, because you met them in Africa, in Burkina Faso, and then you might have been the reason why this film ended up in a festival where we could see it here in the Bay Area and in the United States. And I just think that's hecka cool. And I think that's so wonderful. And I really appreciate, the work, the series that you curated at MOAD, Museum of the African Diaspora. And then you've allowed us to have access to, when I had film festivals through the Ma'afa San Francisco Bay Area, Ma'afa commemoration. So, like when I read that, oh, you're emeritus, like, whoa, like really, like you get to like kind of retire a little bit. That's hecka cool.
I don't believe it.
Thank you.
I don't believe it. I don't believe he's retired. No, nobody's letting him sit down.
Yeah, it's California Newsreel. Like, I think you are the founder, or you are the one who birthed, the African cinema, which included African diaspora, particularly Black Power. I mean, it was like the movies that are part of, your lineage. I mean, they really connect us as a people. It's like important history, and they're still there. Like now we're digital, but before that it was like, those VHS films. Yeah, they take up a lot of room. So anyway, let's see, let me read your bio and stop ad-libbing. Okay, so Cornelius Moore is the Director Emeritus of California Newsreel. California Newsreel produces and distributes cutting-edge social justice films that inspire, educate, and engage audiences. Founded in 1968, Newsreel is the oldest nonprofit social justice documentary film center in the country, first to marry media production and contemporary social movements. It is a leading resource center for the advancement of racial justice and diversity and the study of African American life and history, as well as African culture and politics. In 2006, it launched a new thematic focus for the work, the global economy, with an emphasis on the International Division of Labor. And you all have your films you have
Films on
something specific to
globalization.
that. Yeah. In the years ahead, it looks forward to continuing our traditions. I don't know who the our is. Of innovation and responsible advocacy by providing films that help inform, educate, and organize. But that's not you, Cornelius. Like that, you're not in there. That's the organization.
Yes,
So,
organization.
so I remember really fondly, your relationship with your mother. And I want you to talk a little bit about, because you're not from here, you're from the East Coast, I think, right? Yeah, like, like the radical folks. So anyway, so tell us a little bit about who
Okay.
you are, and how you came to film.
Okay. Let me think about that. I'm from Chester, Pennsylvania, which is a small working class city outside of Philly. When I was coming up, it's hard to say because I grew up in a Black community, so it's hard to say what the percentage of Black folk. I mean, now it's about 75 to 80% Black. It's a city that was very on the fringe of industrialization. My father worked at the Sun Oil refinery. My mother did domestic work, and that was kind of what people did. And a lot of people who were migrated from the rural South, as my parents, my dad did. My mother from Lawrenceville, Virginia. My father from Mineral, Virginia. So I got involved in film because I just figured it's always a way of educating and learning about the world. And I knew there was a bigger world out there. But when I was in college, I went to the University of Pennsylvania. This was before cinema studies. It really wasn't. I mean, the courses that would be at colleges would be, somebody in the English department would have, a course about film and detective novel, or somebody would have in the history department would have something about, the history of film, a survey course. So I took all of those, but I didn't really have a necessary degree in that. But when I got last year of college, I started working with this place called the Neighborhood Film Project, which was there's a community organizer project that would link up filmmakers and community organizations. So we also would have film series working with community organizations, and that's what is exciting to me, to making those linkages and connections. And when since I grown up in that area, I figured I wanted to branch out a little bit. And California Newsreel had a project called the Southern Africa Media Center, which was distributing anti-apartheid films, films that had maybe even that were banned in South Africa, and this was towards the end of apartheid, from late 70s to the 80s particularly. So that was marrying my interest in social change and film. And I'd also been involved in the anti-apartheid movement, both in Philadelphia and the Bay Area. So when I moved to the Bay Area in 1981, and I was at Newsreel until fairly recently. So that's my history. And I'm glad you mentioned the Museum of the African Diaspora, because that was an important way for me to get back into film programming, and also my interest in Black people in a world scale. So films from the U.S., but also films from the Caribbean, from Brazil, from Colombia, from Europe, wherever Black people were or are.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Cornelius. So did you want to? We're gonna come back and talk about Jen.
Okay.
Before we want to allow Rae to to say
I'll
a
pass it
little
on to
bit
Rae.
about this.
Can I pass it on to Rae? You want me to pass it on to Rae?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And Rae and I met on the Muni. So, I mean, we were, we were coming from a film, and I was like, who are you? We just started having a talk, and then found out all about her great work as a filmmaker and the author. So and also about her desire to have a place in Oakland to show films. So it made sense for all to come together. So I'm going to pass it on to Rae.
Okay.
Thanks, Cornelius.
Should I show it again, Rae?
No, that's good. So yeah, yeah, I'm really, yeah, just happy to be here and happy to know both of them. Yeah, Cornelius tells a really good story of how we met and found a lot of commonalities. I didn't grow up in Chester, but I grew up between Philly and Wilmington. And I first met Cheryl through Kana, who was doing a
Oh, yeah.
QA for Cheryl's documentary at Eastside. I'm new to Oakland, new to the Bay, came here, I guess, 3+ years ago, when I accepted the position at SF State, and really fell in love with Oakland. Yeah, I just really love the community here. I love the diversity here. And was really looking for ways to learn more about the community, involve myself within the community, as a teacher, as a neighbor, as a filmmaker. And so meeting Cheryl and Cornelius was definitely a path to making me feel like this was a space that I belonged and helping me to really build connections here. Um, I teach at SF State. I teach in cinema, and usually I'm teaching directing or screenwriting courses. This term, I'm also teaching some film criticism courses, which will be interesting. Which is actually how I came to film. I'd like to surprise my students who are, a lot more interested in making films than watching or reading about films. But I definitely was drawn to the filmmaking world through a lot of criticism that I was reading at the time, which, like Cornelius, I discovered just kind of connection between um, social justice, social change, concerns, and art. And that really launched my journey as a filmmaker. These two have also been promoting my recent book, the short that came out late last year, and I've been doing some book talks this year and continuing into, I guess, the fall and into just next year. It's a book on shorts that does a lot of different things in a very primary way. It's a book that teaches you how to write short films, but it also curates a very large collection of films from around the world, using them as examples to talk about different elements, character, world building, theme, structure. And it's also just a really great book for writers and for storytellers in general, and just helping to kind of understand some ideas around storytelling with a more inclusive view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was wondering, you've almost gone through all of your bio without me without my reading it. So I'm like, okay, it would be kind of redundant. But you write in your bio, your work seeks to uplift the experiences of women of color and to combat stereotypes of the Black female in visual media. In your scholarly work, you're also concerned with issues of equity, access, and representation. And your award-winning films have screened at prestigious film festivals, including the Slam Dance Film Festival, Real Sisters of the Diaspora Film Festival, and London's BFM International Film Festival, as well as international and independent showcases such as Toronto's Pleasure Dome. Your scripts have also received honors from noted screenwriting competitions such as the Motion Picture Academy's Nickel Fellowship. And after working for industry veterans, you turn to sharing your storytelling skills by teaching filmmaking and screenwriting across the various genres, mediums, and platforms. And you also founded a production company, Wicked Lovely Films, and media. Wicked, lovely films and media. Love that name. To tell diverse stories. I love the wicked part. To tell diverse stories, focusing on social change and to mentor new media makers. And you are a fervent patron of the library and often work with nonprofits in local communities. So you've got lots of awards here, but I wanted to ask you, your book, Personal Writing Tools to Free the Imagination. Um, do you ever offer workshops like people can use the book and then they make a film? And if so, I wondered, is that a part of this year-long series? Do I have some hands-on stuff going on? Like, yeah, we can make it. Because I want to enroll.
Yes, yes, we do. Part of the series, I think there's what we call an idea generation workshop. So yeah, the book really emphasizes like this idea that I think new filmmakers should tell stories that come more from themselves as opposed to what I think the industry encourages us to do, which is to kind of look at successful films and like, oh, can I do it like that? When I think, really impactful films really come from personal stories, personal experiences, really individual visions and perspectives. So yeah, the idea generation is definitely one aspect of workshopping that we'll be doing. I'm also launching a separate workshop platform that's called Rae at Play. I've discovered that play is a really important aspect to artistry, creativity, to really being productive. And yeah, so there are several workshops that I'll be offering through that on directing and screenwriting. And Cheryl has been a really great supporter of having me have films in the series as well.
Okay,
Well,
so
because Rae, one of the things is that not only should we get to know each other's films, but there's a ton of people in the Bay that make films. We all need to know each other's work. And even if that ton of people don't show up in the theater, just floating around, literature that says so and so's film, so and so, that changes our view. I keep hearing people say, well, nobody, there's no Black women doing this or no one else, no, there's a lot of people. So let's get to know each other. But
yeah.
I'm really excited to see Rae's stuff. And in addition to Rae's writing workshop, there's a workshop that we're doing, and I don't remember the date, but it's using your cell phone to make movies. And these are little nips at it, but I think it's enough to spark something in someone. So
Yeah, that's great because they're going to be having a workshop like that at my library. They're going to be having a workshop using your cell phone to make films, but I'm facilitating something, so I can't go. And I'm like, oh, super.
Oh,
So you're gonna offer, so I can still do it. Yeah. So just a heads up, you all, I have a film. So, next time you do this,
send it to me.
oh, okay. All right. Okay. Will do. Will do. Super. So we're back, with the birthing center, the Sarah Fabio Center.
Oh.
And it's perfect, circle. So tell us about some of these films and what's going to be, like what the films for the 14th. I mean, they're fabulous. So tell us about the films next week and some of the other ones people can look forward to that haven't been mentioned and where in the diaspora they are coming from. And as well as, sort of how people stay connected, like is there something they can follow so then they don't miss anything? Yeah, those kind of details, because we're like all tech savvy and we're hecka busy doing a whole lot of things. So we got to prioritize, and this is important. We don't want to miss this.
So one of the things I'm going to say is that we're running everything through Eventbrite. So that's one way to stay connected. You also need to register to come. So they're free, but we need to be able to anticipate and, manage the crowd. I don't know if you guys know, I have now 3 times increased the tickets for next Thursday's screening. So there's yeah, 3 times. And I think it's gonna, I mean, frankly, our community starts getting tickets like 2 days before an event. So we're going to be sold out of that. But I'm going to launch my website, which might not be an easy one, except the nice thing is that by launching it, I need to share it.
Share your screen.
Hold on one second. Here it is. So you can see that the website, the URL is SWFCenter #4SJ, and that stands for Sarah Webster Fabio Center for Social Justice. But we've got all of the things here and a place for you to go ahead and register, get to Eventbrite and register. And I do want to say there's a lot of information here. And so we've used each level as a way to go deeper. And what I'm saying there is, we've been really careful to show who these people are we're talking about. And not only are we showing them in the context of this, but if you click on anyone's name, then you start seeing, I love this mosaic of folks who are involved with this screening series. And it'll keep growing because, like you said, it's a year-long program, and we've only programmed the first half of it. So here's where you can go, swfcenter.org, and you can keep up with what's coming. You can click to get to Eventbrite, and you can learn a little bit of something about the films, and at least see again who the filmmakers are. Next week starts it, and we're starting it with a film called Jen. And when did I first, actually, a friend of mine, when I posted this, a friend of mine who's now in North Carolina, said, Cheryl, I've been trying to get you to meet her for 10 years. So this is a young woman who I kept hearing about. And finally, I got to see her film someplace. And I didn't know her, but I kind of was in pursuit of her. And actually, I was going to do a project on Muslims in the Bay Area, and so I really hunted down her film and got to see it and got to know her a little bit more. But the interesting thing to me was when I was getting ready to mix my film, I ended up at the same sound mixer that she had used, and I thought, well, I'm getting close. And then I went to a program, and I was telling Cornelius, we were kind of talking about this, and I was telling Cornelius, I'd love to show this film, Jen. And he said, oh, well, she was here at this event last night. And I said, she was. And he introduced me to her anyway. And then, when we reached out, she's been really gracious, more than happy to share that film. So this is her first feature film, Jen. And she's also sharing a brand new short that she's made, and it's called Noor. Yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm really excited that that's the beginning.
She's from
Oakland.
the Bay Area. Yeah, I mean, I think part of the idea was that we also wanted to feature people who have a connection to the Bay, and she certainly did. And I want to say Noor. I saw Noor at the Black Stars William and Louise Greaves seminar that's at Stanford every year, and she was it wasn't finished. We did a table read of the film and then showed as a work in progress, and it's a lovely story about a connection between a Black American Muslim woman and a Palestinian who is in, I think, Los Angeles. So it's very also very current about what's going on in Gaza. So I figured we should really, if she was available, and that we should show that film.
And she is available, so
Yeah,
she'll
right.
be here.
Yeah.
She'll be here, and I believe some other, family and friends will be there. That's going to be a sweet program. And again, we're very proud to have a new popcorn machine. And we'll make it as festive as possible. Then you can see that there's a picture of Rae. And Ray's doing this writer's workshop, idea generation. I've been reading Ray's book, and she has a really lovely way. I haven't seen the films in it, so I'm reading the text and kind of imagining what these films are. One day I'll go back and actually find the films and watch them. But she has a lovely way of kind of relaxing you into the thought of becoming a writer, of having kind of the courage to put your thoughts, put your experiences out there. And I'm hoping, I heard her say just now that she's got a longer writing project, but I think people need to know about that. You don't have to be in college to start writing, right? And so I'm glad to hear she's making herself available to people in the public. And then we've got like this is one of the right. Didn't you curate this one? It's hard.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a series of shorts that we've put together. And at the end of this one, there'll be a talk back between Rae and Naima Jordan, whose short is here. It's called Labor. But also Naima did a really amazing job on Eyes on the Prize 3. That's what is it on HBO? It's on one of I'm
That
not
was
sure.
an HBO. Yeah.
I think it's HBO, but it's one of them. So there's that, and we're showing Barry Jenkins Wright, or we're still working on that one, but one of his early films, and also Ryan Coogler's very first film, Lux, which is a lovely short. So going on, here's our using the smartphones to tell stories. We've got two people. Well, we're going to make that really cozy, so maybe 20 people can participate in that. And then both of these women are cinematographers, and that's going to be great. And here we are with Rae again. I'm so excited for this one because this is a series of shorts that's about Black female growing into strength.
Yeah.
At the end, yeah,
Excuse me, Sarah, can we let
Cheryl.
Rae talk about it?
Sure. Rae.
So I'll definitely say that we co-curated this particular section. Black Kung Fu Chick is going to play. That's a story that I did while I was still living in LA, and tells a really interesting story about a girl who is really struggling between wanting to heal and wanting to fight for her community. And then the other shorts here that I was working together with Cheryl on was Cheryl Dunye's. She has a really lovely collection of short films that I think they're on Criterion now. If it's not Criterion, it's some other well-known cinema distributor that took all of her shorts and put them together as a collection, which was great. And then Jessica Jones is also a local filmmaker here who did a really important story, documentary centering on Black women who are mothers and their struggles. But I'll let Cheryl talk about the other two shorts. Yeah.
So we have Zainabu Irene Davis, who she's an LA filmmaker. She comes up here quite a bit, but she's an LA filmmaker, and she's showing Mother of the River. Zainabu won't be here because another one of her films is playing at the Parkway the week before. I really recommend people check that out at the Parkway and then come see this short of hers.
Compensation, is that the film?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And that's a really amazing film. We showed it at the Roxy, and I got to do a Q&A with her. But it is a story of a Black woman who's deaf and kind of a relationship, and it straddles a 1980s, 1890 story and a contemporary story. Really interesting film.
Hmm.
The other one is
Before you move on,
yeah.
I know Zainabu Irene's work because she's one of those foundational directors out of the LA school
That's right.
that were like making big footprints.
She was
And
actually a student of many of them.
mhm,
So she's
yeah,
on, yeah, she's one of the younger people that came through that series.
yeah, it was called the LA Rebellion was the big
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
Yeah.
Clyde Taylor kind of coined it as the LA Rebellion. And, whenever I think about them, I think about Clyde Taylor, who did a lot of that community organizing around film. So,
Actually, he was in the Bay Area
yeah.
with African Film Society.
Oh.
And then the other one that I'd mention is an Oakland-based filmmaker. So Elizabeth Carter turned a story that Cat Brooks wrote, turned it into a short film. It's called Bottled Spirits, and it's set in West Oakland. It's an interesting film. At the end of that program, at the end of this whole program, I think Rae is going to do a chat. I don't know if it's an interview or a chat with Cat Brooks, and they'll just talk about, well, the two of them as well as the audience there will talk about this series of films, and all of them are by Black women. So that's
Yeah, and I just want to mention that Cat Brooks is like a phenomenal, organizer and revolutionary artist as well. And Elizabeth Carter is a phenomenal director. And I just saw her Monday at a play at Shotgun Theater that she directed. It was a really, yeah, she is amazing. These two women, it's going to be a heck of an amazing evening.
yeah, it will be. It will be. I'm going to move. Oh, here's one that we're a little excited about as well, because, and I don't know, I say everything wrong. Coeli, is that how you pronounce it?
Quelly TV.
Quelly TV. So Deshauna Spencer has launched this thing, Quelly TV, that's been around for a while. It's a few years old, but it is maybe the biggest catalog of African diaspora-based films in the world. So she's got films from all over. We're hoping that she can kind of show us some samples, but Cornelius and her will also do a live Zoom talk. She's in the Midwest someplace, so we're going to do it by Zoom, and really excited about that. And she has been one of our sponsors. I think we'll lean into her more in the second half of this program, because we do want to, we wanted to showcase Oakland. We'll want to do American film, but we want to get even further than that, which is a reason that even a year isn't enough, but I'll talk about that another time. And this one is really interesting. I don't know, Doug Harris is moving a film around of his on John Burris, right? The attorney who does a lot of police work. But he showed me, when he heard about this, he showed me this film that he did on his uncle, Uziki, who's in Washington, D.C., and he makes the most gorgeous, huge sculptures. And he just does it. He does it for free. He installs them. They're all over DC. It's a really interesting film, and it's special because Doug, who you see in this photograph, and his son have crossed the country to tell this story about his uncle. And I look forward to sharing that. And then let me see. I want to be quick. I don't want to. Then we have Daughters. This is the film that I just love. And it is on Netflix, so people can see it on Netflix. But it's the kind of film, when I saw it, I watched it a couple of times. I was at home by myself, and I really wanted to engage with other people. This is a beautiful film for us to have kind of community conversation. And Jarethia Duvall will be the person who facilitates that conversation. And then Fantastic Negrito. There was a film made for him. He's such an interesting person. He's in a film I did about evolutionary blues. He kind of ends it. He's such an interesting individual, but you know, I haven't seen this one. Cornelius brought it to us, and but he's just the kind of guy who will open up and tell you stuff. So this is him looking at his own demons, but also kind of putting it in the context of community. And then the final one for this part of the year is my own film, Evolutionary Blues, which I play every time I can because, you know, so we had about 35 interviews with musicians and historians, and half of my musicians have passed on. And I really feel like it's honoring that legacy to show the film over and over and over again. So I do that. So that's what we've got, what we're up to. And again, if you go to that website, you can not only do a little bit of reading, you can make your way to Eventbrite, and there's more information in our Eventbrite on each of the films and the people and all of that. So I'm going to stop sharing. Woo.
Oh, wow. How wonderful. Goodness gracious, you all put a lot of work into this, and it's going to be fabulous. Congratulations on the first half. Yeah, yeah. So, Cheryl, do we want to end with maybe one word or one phrase from everybody, and then you could share the trailer for Jen?
For Jen. Okay. So I think I've given my one word. So why don't you two give your one words and then I'll play
Or
I'll play
phrase. Like, why should people come?
Cornelius.
Oh, I don't have one word. I just say building an audience.
Mhm.
Rae.
Okay.
I think, yeah, the series that we're doing is really important, coming from a film perspective. You know, there are many theaters that are closing around the country. And there are many theaters that have closed here in the East Bay. And, you know, I was really excited when Cornelius connected me with Cheryl. He's like, you know, she's got an idea about a series. I know that you're, you know, trying to do this theater thing. And so I think what we're offering is really rare, and it's, you know, it's kind of needed. I think that, you know, the theater community is really at an interesting impasse, you know, around the country where you know, there are a lot of questions, you know, do people still want to go to the theater when there's all this stuff that's streaming? But, you know, one of the reasons I was really interested in trying to open some sort of theater environment is that, you know, first, I think it's an entirely different experience being able to see films in community as opposed to seeing them in your home. But you know, the other thing that's really rare is that, you know, it's a series that's focusing on Black film. You know, the stories of people of color in Oakland. You know, things that are relevant to people who are living here in the East Bay. And you know, it's really important to remind people that, you know, streaming it has its advantages, but it also has its limitations. And those limitations are that those people behind them are making decisions about what we do and don't get to see, which is why the series is called Unscreened and Unstreamed. So we really wanted to look at, you know, what are the films that people may not really know about, or, you know, really have opportunity to see. You know, they may be online, but they may not be promoted in a way that people even know they exist. You know, I miss, you know, thank God, I think there's a couple of, actually, I think there's a couple of DVD stores that are still in the East Bay, but again, these platforms really decide what we get to see. And so, what we're doing is really important and really trying to shed light and create exposure for new filmmakers, because as a filmmaker, your film is never done until it's distributed. So, making the film is only one half, but if no one sees it, what does that mean? So it's really important for people to come out, for filmmakers, but also people who are film enthusiasts, people who are interested in social change, people who are interested in, keeping Oakland the cultural place that it is. When, we're kind of fighting every day, issues of gentrification. So I think it's a really important program for people to join and participate in, because as storytellers, we have to learn how to tell our stories, because everyone else has historically not done that for us.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to just say is everyone who's involved in this project has their hands in the Black community. So the other thing is that there's not a lot of places, I mean, festivals, yes, but there's not a lot of places that show film consistently that know how to market to Black audiences. So we're excited about that. So should I just share the...
Not just yet. I would want to reiterate to people that, we're talking about the Black film Unscreened and Unstreamed. I really like the acronym BFUU. I was like, that's so cute. I hope you have t-shirts. And it starts August 14th, 2025, and it goes through July 2026. And are they always on Thursdays?
They're always every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday, so you can, make sure you get in that event right and just register from all them all, because you can do it one time, and then they send you reminders, which makes life heck easy. Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to mention that, as well as that the venue for the first half is Oakstop, which is a very nice name and a great place, and it's easy to remember how to get there. So and I just want to say that as an arts critic and journalist for over 30 years here in the San Francisco Bay Area, who has been going to film festivals and interviewing people and just really loving these great stories that are told. And then after you see it at the festival, you can't find it anymore. It's like gone, on somebody's shelf or in some archive that you have to belong to an institution to be able to access. And if you don't belong to, you got to pay too much money and you can't afford it. So then, the conversations about, like, we need to have a theater where these films they go to the film festival and then they screen again. They're not dead. So yes, I'm really happy that you got some money and you're doing this. I'm really happy about this, and may you continue forever.
We'd like that.
Can we say the address of the place?
Oh yes, that would be super, because I don't know it. That's why I didn't.
Okay, yes, right. Sure.
So, and actually that's good, Cornelius, because Oakstop has a number of locations. This is the original one. It's at 1721 Broadway. And we're on the street level in a little gallery. So you can, there's a window right there on the sidewalk. And yeah, it's easy. 19th Street, you can take 19th Street. You can also get off on 12th Street BART and be there. But also it's at 6:30 in the evening, so street parking opens up. So lots of ways to be there. Buses run there. I think the 40 run. I don't know if that's still.
What's the cross street on?
So it's Broadway. It'll be between, I'm pretty sure,
cross street is 17th. Yeah.
17th and 18th. Yeah. But yeah.
19th Street BART is like right there.
Yes.
But you can walk up from 12th because that'd be 5 blocks, but they're not long.
No, I did it the other day. So, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyway, should I start?
Yeah.
Start it now.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. One of the reasons that I'm a little hesitant is, okay, how do you do this?
Oh, you got to share your screen.
I'm sharing, but I don't see my,
But first, before you share, you got to click share sound
okay.
so we can hear it.
Well, but I don't see, what I'm saying is that I don't even see the,
You don't see the video?
I don't see the video on my screen.
Oh, do you see it,
Just-
Rae? I mean,
just-
can you pull it up?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more time, and if not, what, wait a minute. Trailer, here we go.
Oh, super. Excellent.
What is identity? What are the values, the ideologies, and practices that make us who we are?
5, 6, 7, 8. Row, row, and hit. Ba, ba, snap, snap.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين.
Are you gonna wear that to work?
So what makes us different from jinn? We are not born of fire, but of clay.
It's like official now? Turning back? No turning back.
But what do you want?
You. I want you.
Thank you, Wanda.
You're welcome. Thank you. See you next week.
All right.
Wanda,
Oh,
good to see you.
Thank you
Good
so
seeing
much,
you too.
Wanda.
Thank you. Good meeting you, Rae. Look forward to seeing you in person.
You too.
Always a pleasure, Cheryl.
Right,
Right,
always a
here.
pleasure.
All right, peace and blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I just wanted to mention that it's Black August, and so what a better way to honor our ancestors and celebrate Black August than with, you know, these wonderful stories about, you know, Black excellence. You take good care. Thanks for joining Wanda's Picks. Peace and blessings.